If you won't cast a bionic amputee to play Spider-Man, then why is it okay to cast a fully sighted actor to play Helen Keller or Ray Charles?
Hi Shashank, thank you so much for joining us. We are glad to have you on One Will News. And the fact that you, being a visually impaired person, has created a documentary is something that is coming to me as a very interesting yet a very beautiful thing. So, before even moving forward to know about the documentary from you, I would like to know more about you, your journey. How did you end up being a filmmaker, an actor, and what it's like to be a filmmaker with a challenge, a disability like that of visual impairments?
All right, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. So, again, my name is Shashank Sharma. I'm a stage actor. I've been passionate about storytelling from a very early age. Now, again, without sounding very cliched, my aunt would narrate to me like a new story about, say, the Mughal Raj or Titanic or space race when I'd come back from school every day. So, from a very early age, I became imbibed into storytelling. I was born and raised in the United Arab Emirates. After completing school from there, I went to England to Lancaster University to study film, and I also taught salsa dancing there for a couple of years. So graduation ke baad, I moved to India to work in theatre under the tutelage of veteran stage director Mr. Faisal Al Ghazi. And during my time here, I've performed with like four different theatre groups, and I've done shows all over the country. And for me, the visual impairment, honestly, it because people here have just been so kind and they've like welcomed me with open arms. I never thought of myself as a visually impaired actor here. I just thought of myself as an actor here because people have just been so kind and loving to me. And if you're willing to put in the effort, then the other people are going to also support you in that way. During the lockdown, I while I continued doing theater, which moved online, I also started taking one-to-one acting classes with acting coach Rishi Mehta to portray fully sighted characters for the screen and stage.
Okay, that's interesting. So, in the lockdown phase itself, I believe that you created this documentary or mockumentary, so to say. So, tell us more about this documentary, which itself is a very interesting name for a documentary. So, yeah, tell me more about that.
Thank you so much. This film, which was this actress Mary Lee Talkington put together this group of people through her Academy Access Acting for which is a training academy for blind low vision performers. So seven blind and low vision people from around the world. She put us together, and we made a film about how service animals and guide dogs are coping during the quarantine. Now, being locked away for like a year hasn't just affected us. Even guide dogs need practice. So we had two guide dogs in our film, Ben and Garfield, with their owners,
Yeah.
and we had three experts: Wet, named after a soft drink, Dr. Pepper, a dog decipherer, and my character Al Pacino, who's a blind dog trainer. So what we try to do is use humor to raise awareness for a very real issue because during the lockdown, a lot of people have lost their service animals or they've had to retire them because they just can't function the way they need to function anymore.
So, if you can, just walk me through the whole process of making the documentary and what exactly were the challenges that you people faced while making the documentary, especially when it was already the time of pandemic. So, what exactly were the challenges?
Okay, so the process was I'm sorry, I didn't tell you this before. I'll just tell you a little bit about why we made this. So we
Sure.
made this for the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge,
Yeah.
which was created by this actor Nick Nowicki about in 2014 as responds to underrepresentation of the disabled community in film. So basically, you have to make a film from scratch within 5 days. I mean, one challenge for us, because we were like we had four time zones between us. Canada, a few places in the US, which was like Montana, Mountain Standard Time, and then LA was Pacific Standard Time, me in India, IST, and New York was Eastern Standard Time. So because all of us had four time zones between us, so just getting us together was like one of the challenges that we faced initially. um, my I was about 12 and a half hours ahead of the rest of them. So we would start working at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in the morning for them. For me at night, it would be 12:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and we would work like throughout the night up until 10, 11 a.m. for me, like the next morning. So the way me and like some of the other people we dealt with this is we all kind of shifted our sleep cycle from, for me for IST, from them from EST or whatever, to the Pacific time, so we could all be together in the same place. Aside from that, the whole filmmaking process was very smooth. Now, I'll just digress a little bit here. My involvement in this was primarily as a writer and an actor, but I wanted to be involved throughout the whole filmmaking process, which is something I picked up when I was in England when I was working on feature films like Doolittle and student films. That no matter what your assigned role is, you're always there at hand to step in case you're needed. And I'll just get to why this became important in a minute. So, me and the other three, four directors and producers, we all decided that we'll all 16th to 21st, we'll dedicate our whole time to this. So we had two teams of editors, one in Montana and one in LA. So the people in Montana would edit half the film, send it to the people in LA who would edit the other half and combine it together. So right at the 11th hour, we realized we would not be able to send the project files from Montana to LA. We pondered like a few hours, कि क्या करें, मतलब, it's 24 hours of work. All the work we basically did on the 20th was lost. And we had 6 hours to go. So we spent a day and a half to write the film, 2.5 days to shoot the film, and we were left with 6 hours to then edit the whole film together from scratch. um, and you have to make this film in 6 minutes. We had seven actors, we had three pets, we had a voiceover narration, and we're like, we have hours and hours of footage. What do we do? So all of us being there really helped here, because we also had to ensure that the essence of our film isn't lost. Like on the cutting floor, all the characters still had to make sense, and we had to submit a film within the deadline, and also make sure that we have something to show for our efforts over the past month and a half.
Yeah.
So this was really our biggest challenge, and we all pulled through together as a unit, because it showed everyone's character. Most of us had been up for 40 hours plus, just staring into a computer screen, going through hours of footage. And the editor, Spencer in LA, I mean, he did magic. In 6 hours, he was able to edit together a very complicated film.
So the whole cast and the crew members of the film are visually impaired or low vision people.
Yeah, we're all blind and low vision actors.
That's really great. And I mean, congratulations to the whole team for being able to pull off this documentary. And that's a very interesting documentary for the people who are watching it. You can watch it on the YouTube channel of the film festival. That's a very interesting documentary. Everyone must watch. And then, secondly, on what I would like to come is that the idea of inclusion and representation in our filmmaking industry, or so to say, in any other profession, but in filmmaking, generally, what we see is that there is one actor taking up the role of a character. We see, like, we have seen Helen Keller being played by an actor who is not visually impaired, or we have seen people from different caste, upper caste people playing the minorities. So what do you have to say about the this whole debate of representation? What is the idea behind it, and why do people not consider taking actors who actually represent their community?
Mm. The Ruderman Family Foundation in America, they're a leader in advocating for increased representation of disability in film.
Okay.
They did a white paper study in 2018. So they found that over 20% of the American population lives with a disability, and less than 2% of actors on TV have disability. Out of that 2%, 95% of the disabled character, uh, 95% of that 2% are played by actors who are fully able.
Okay.
1 in 4 people in the world lives with a disability, and still we're the largest minority community in the world. So going back to this film challenge, this is why this whole film challenge kind of exists, because for a long time the excuse was that there just aren't enough disabled actors or performers in the industry. Well, we're here to show you that
Yeah.
here we all are: actors, writers, directors, producers, filmmakers, and we're all trained in our core areas. And I think just systemically, if you want to improve authentic representation, it's not just about having the right actors or telling the right stories. You also need behind the camera, like I said again, casting directors, producers, actors, writers, everyone. There needs to be disabled people all across the whole chain to actually have more authentic representations. I mean, if I hadn't told you that all the actors in this film are blind,
Yeah.
all the behind the camera crew are low vision, would you have been able to tell that? Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, we're basically here to show that this can be done and it is being done. And this is no longer an excuse, because the disabled community for the long time, I mean, our problems have been like shoved under the carpet, and we're still fighting for just basic equality and accessibility. Like a low vision actor shouldn't walk into an audition room and have to get a script and be told to memorize it in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Get a 2-page script and memorize it in 15 minutes. um, I've interacted with a lot of disabled people, actors and performers around the world, and we all kind of have a very similar narrative of being bullied or facing discrimination in your place of work. And we want to make a difference because we want to do this and the other thing, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. And we want to leave the world a better place than we inherited. And the media has this incredible power to shape people's understanding and their knowledge and really move towards a more egalitarian world, a more
Yeah.
equal world.
Right. That's a very interesting analysis you have given, and I really hope that will help people who are watching this video. And like my closing question to you would be that what are your hopes from this documentary? What are you expecting people to actually have or take from this documentary?
So one is we want to raise awareness for service animals and guide dogs and how they're coping during the pandemic, because we as humans don't inhabit the world solely. We share it with a lot of species, which is a thing that a lot of us tend to forget a lot. And the second thing is we want to raise awareness for the disabled community as a whole. Um, Again, like I don't want to repeat the same point, but disabled people can make films from scratch, and our disability doesn't really don't judge us on that. Judge us on the talent or what we're putting in front of you. Don't judge us based on our disability. Judge us based on what we're showing to you.
That's great.
So that
And
excuse of sorry.
yeah, yeah,
So that excuse of not casting disabled actors and saying there are not enough actors with disabilities to cast, yeah, that excuse is not going to
that's
work
really an
anymore.
excuse. That really is an excuse now, because we have been seeing people who are like disabled and then also giving great content. So that really is an excuse, and it's high time people need to realize that.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for connecting, Shashank. I mean, it was a really good chat, and I hope that your documentary gets all the success it deserves. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to One World News. And don't forget to watch Shashank's documentaries. Watch people like him. Thank you.